When I woke up, guess who was next to me? Jane. I forgot to take her name and number for my emergency contact. Welcome back to They Did What? Your source for the internet's craziest, most entertaining stories, where I go over them, analyze them, and most certainly make fun of them. Today, going to be going over part 4 of the popular series, Man Outsmarts Cheating Wife by recording her getting salami, and then sends the video to. And a big shout out to Mark for letting me know there was an update here. And guys, that video series, because it was 3 episodes, definitely popular. You guys definitely enjoyed it. And this is why I continue this on every time there's an update. Now, as a quick recap, because it's been a few weeks since I did part 3, in a nutshell, as best as I can do the nutshell thing, this is about the guy. He was married to his wife, I think, 11 years. Thought he had a good thing going, as many do. But he and the wife were always overweight. Doctor told him, better lose some weight, you're going to die soon. So he and his wife went on a diet, joined a gym, and lost a bunch of weight. She is looking a hell of a lot better and starting getting noticed by a lot of different guys, including her personal trainer at the gym. The guy starts noticing the trainer starting to act very inappropriate with her, getting touchy-feely, all that, and eventually says, enough of that, we're going to different gyms. She had a hissy fit, you don't trust me, blah, blah, blah. Next thing you know, he finds out they're having an affair. He catches them red-handed in his bedroom, records them, throws the guy out but he also gave him a nice little ass kicking too. And he said it's over, it's done. Which led to part 2 with him finding out about who that guy was, getting proof, and trying to get his ass fired because that guy was an employee of that gym messing with a member. Part 3 last time was all about what went on with his wife. His wife sent him this long letter trying to get him to change his mind, all that type of stuff. He ain't having it. At the end of the letter, she was pretty much saying, I'll do anything you want, be the best wife ever. All these stupid promises that they all say, he ain't having it. Now on to part 4 is where things are going forward now, and it's definitely, not the way I saw things going. And no, it doesn't mean he's going to get back with her, I'm going to tell you, but just an interesting turn in this guy's journey. So, he picks up saying, hi champions, I'm back. Thank you all who contacted me. I've been silent because I need time to reflect, and I finally got it. Thank you very much. It's been some very rough days for me. For those who want to know, I did meet with Jane. No, I didn't answer her letter. It was by dumb mistake that I made, and I'll explain. A few days after my last post, I had an anxiety attack due to the stress I bottled up, according to my therapist. My life had a 180 change, and my mind hasn't had time to adjust. It was my first time having this kind of episode. I thought I was having a stroke. Sweating and panic clouded my judgment. My coworkers dialed an emergency and an ambulance came for me. If I hadn't been so scared, I'd have enjoyed the ride. I was so sure that at any moment I'd croak. The paramedic repeated to me, Mister, you are having a panic attack, everything's going to be fine. I tried to focus on his words, but I couldn't. My only thought was, I'm going to die. At the hospital, they sedated me, and I started to feel better and sleepy. I could answer questions. The doctor asked for my name, my age, and what day it was. I could answer correctly until I passed out. Well, we can see why he had all that anxiety bottled up and he had that attack. Everything that's been going on in his life. When I woke up, guess who was next to me? Jane. I forgot to take out her name and number for my emergency contact. I was very confused due to the drugs. I smiled at her and said, Jane? She was sitting, reading a book, and when she heard me, she jumped out of her seat and approached me. She had tears in her eyes and told me, hello, my love, you really scared us. That's when everything came back to me. I stopped smiling and asked, what are you doing here? I tried to sit, but my body felt numb and clumsy. She shushed me and told me, take it easy, no sudden movements. I'll get the doctor. She kissed my forehead and left. I wanted to evade the kiss, but also my reflexes were numb. That kiss felt so familiar, but I know it's been more than a year since she kissed me with a sincere love. While she was gone, I saw around me. I was in a big room with 6 other beds, 4 of them with patients. They all had separated by curtains to have privacy. I also noticed I wasn't wearing my clothes, but a hospital robe. So imagine that. 1 minute, he's going about his life. Next minute, he's like, where the hell am I? And there's his soon-to-be ex-wife who cheated on him, treated him like shit for all that time period, gaslighting and all that, sitting right there, calling him my love and all that. And once he came to his senses, he's probably like, get the fuck out of here. And you all know what she did from especially the first episode of this, why he would feel that way. A few minutes later, she came back with the doctor. I had slept for 26 hours. The doctor explained all about the anxiety attack that I had suffered. He asked me if I stopped taking any medication, but Jane and I answered almost at the same time, I don't, or he doesn't take any meds. I hate how she knows me so well. The doctor told me the episode came from heavy stress or a sudden change in my life, or both. Yeah, and I'm sure he could look right at her and say, her. She's the one that caused the heavy stress, doctor. I glanced at Jane, but she hid her eyes. He ordered some days off to reflect and get some therapy. I told him I'm already on therapy, but the doctor said I need to see a psychiatrist. My therapist is a psychologist, so she can't prescribe medication. He told me that I must be hungry, and the next day I'd be discharged, and he left. It was 8 p.m., so Jane had another hour until visiting hours were over, and she didn't look like she wanted to leave. He was probably counting the minutes on that clock. And I'm sure during all this, the last thing he thought of was, take her off my emergency contact. It felt awkward, and that feeling means me to chatter like an idiot. So I asked, you said you scared us. Who are us? She smiled. I bet she knew I couldn't resist to talk. Your parents and me, she said. They were here in the morning. Did they leave? Yes, they're expecting my call. I'll talk to them tomorrow. You can leave. I want to sleep. She says, but your dinner is almost here. When the doctor mentioned I must be hungry, my stomach grumbled. I didn't eat a thing for 26 hours. A few minutes later, a veteran nurse came in with a tray on a cart. She asked Jane to manipulate the bed so I'd be sitting in a position to eat. Well, interesting the choice of words, manipulate with his wife. I don't know what kind of face I made because Jane was amused and staring at me while the nurse arranged the tray in front of me on my bed. I'm an ex-glutton guy. She said, God, I love you so much. I glared at her again and asked her one more time to go home, but the nurse got really mad at me. According to her, Jane sponge bathed me and she even shaved me. I didn't notice until she told me. Finally, she asked Jane to feed me because I was coming out of the medication. I told her we're getting divorced, but she said that's not her problem and I should be thanking her that she's been here to help and I'm a very ungrateful person, and then she left. That nurse can go pound sand. Yeah, that's real great. Yeah, she showed up when he had the panic attack and all that, but she's been dying to get back in this guy's life after all the horrible shit she did to him. But of course, the nurse is seeing it only one way. And by the way, you've all heard the stories and stereotypes about nurses. I refused her help and tried to eat even though my movements were very clumsy. I'd be like, get the hell out of here. Even takes me an hour or two to eat just a little bit. I'm doing it on my own. I was making a mess with the soup and Jane begged me to let her help me. I felt like a spoiled brat making a tantrum. I just said, fine, and let her feed me. I never felt so vulnerable before. She behaved very maternalistic and affectionate. I could have a close look at her. She wasn't wearing any makeup. He wrote this a little wrong, guys. I saw more lines of expression, and also she had crow's feet now. I felt better after I finished eating. She took the tray out of the room, and she was in a good mood. I saw a patient in front of me, a man in his 50s, checking Jane when she went out and came back. I'm not surprised. She was wearing a coat and jeans, but she's very pretty. I didn't like the feeling of being in debt with her. When she sat down, I said, thanks for being here. She looked me in the eyes and smiled anytime. She tried to comb my hair and my forehead with her hand, but I couldn't reject her at this time. She looked hurt, and I didn't say anything. She tried to grab my hand, but I removed it, and she said, can we talk, please? I remained silent. There are only two reasons for me, at least, to be cordial to her. Number one, the twins. They weren't baptized when they were toddlers, but after sister-in-law's ex went away, Jane and I supported my sister-in-law and the twins. I love those two rascals with all my heart. When we babysit them, I told Jane this would be count as parent training for when we had our own. That will never happen. The sister-in-law asked us to be their godparents, and I teared with emotion. They are the closest thing I have to a daughter and a son. I know Jane loves them too, and I don't want any drama near my godson and goddaughter, and I miss them so much. So this is a dude who's in a situation where he has a really good relationship with his wife's family. So as if it wasn't bad enough, what she did and the cheating, and the cheating went on for a long time, if you recall, and how she treated him, he's not just kicking her to the curb, he's also losing her family, which he has a really great relationship with. I mean, it is sad, and that happens sometimes. I know Jane loves him too, and I don't want any drama, blah, blah, blah. Also, I haven't spoken to them because I was avoiding Jane. So I told her, okay, let's talk. In the condo. I'll contact you soon. She offered to take me home the next day when I get discharged. I told her no, I'll ask my parents to come for me and I'll see her in the condo. Obviously, he just wants to say what he has to say to get her out of there and let her say her piece when he's fully, back to his normal self, and then that's it, move on. If that's what it takes, most of the time I'd say avoid like the plague, but he is definitely trapped in this situation. I wanted to talk to my parents. She noticed I was looking for my clothes. She opened a cabinet next to my bed and gave me my phone. I looked at her suspiciously and she made her guilty face again, meaning I'm sure she snooped on my phone, and she admitted it. Unbelievable. She was snooping through his phone. Probably checking to see if he was talking to another woman, even though they're split up and he could do whatever the hell he wants. We didn't utter a word. That's the language we developed by being married 11 years. I don't care if she snooped. I have nothing to hide. Well, it doesn't matter if you have something to hide. You guys are splitting up. Who gives a shit? Just the fact that she did that says, again, a lot about her character. I texted my parents and they called almost immediately. While I was talking to them, the same old nurse told Jane visiting hours were over and she wanted to say goodbye, but I ignored her. She whispered to my ear, I know you keep your word. I'll wait for you to contact me. I love you. Yeah, sure. Now that he wants to divorce her, she loves him. She kissed my hair and left. I do keep my word. My father always told me a man is worth as much as his word. I asked my parents if they knew what happened after I passed out. According to them, one of my coworkers showed up in the hospital to give information about my medical secure, and that's when the staff saw the emergency contact and they called Jane. The sister-in-law called them after the hospital called. When Jane came, she met my coworker, and he left. Jane was waiting for the doctor assigned to me when my parents arrived. My dad was very cordial to her and asked what she knew. These are the parents that wouldn't let her in the house, wouldn't give her the time of day when she showed up trying to sweet talk him. My dad was very cordial, blah, blah, blah. After a while waiting, a nurse called out relatives of patient OP. They stood up and the nurse guided them to the doctor. They've already tested my blood and told them I'm physically healthy. My anxiety attack stems from a psychological aspect. The doctor asked for Jane to see me because she's the emergency contact. She promised my parents to call them after seeing me. When she came back, she was surprised my parents were still there waiting. After what they know their son went through, I wouldn't leave either. She gave them a ride to their home while she told them that she helped the nurses to undress me and put the hospital robe on. They didn't talk about her divorce. My parents thanked her for the ride and agreed to visit in the morning, and she switched in the afternoon around 1 p.m. Also, I called the sister-in-law to thank her for calling my parents. Luckily, my godchildren were still up and I could speak to them. They were drawing get well soon cards for me. I promised to visit the next weekend. That's cute. That's cool when kids do that stuff. The next day, it was Thursday, I was discharged from the hospital. My parents took me to my new home. A week before my panic attack, I started moving to my new place. I took my personal belongings. Everything else will stay in the condo. I'll run it as fully furnished. Luckily, there are 3 universities nearby. I know there are students who will kill for a place like mine. Remember, he owned the condo that they were living in, and he realized, I got to get out of here. I can't live in the same place that I was married to with my wife and all these memories. I'm getting out, but I'm going to rent it out, which I think was a good idea. I've already bought the basic furniture, a refrigerator, a stove. I have to learn to cook my meals from now on, a bed, a table with chairs and a desk, cleaning tools, etc. I felt thrilled for the first time. I can call this little apartment my own place. I bought a nice warm jacket from Mr. P, and I gave it to him, thanked him for his help, and told him I'll visit from time to time. Mr. P is the security guard at the other place that helped him in this whole thing. I didn't attend to my neighbor's dinner. I don't feel like dating right now, and I think I need more therapy and do more healing. The neighbor invited him to come on over because her female relative was going to be there and was trying to fix him up. And I agree. This guy's going through hell. The last thing he should be doing is dating anybody right now. He's got a lot of soul searching, a lot of work on himself to move on to get to that point, if he wants to do that. At my new home, I reflected about my goals, meeting Jane. I concluded I need closure, understanding her actions, make her understand there is no possible reconciliation, and end up in things amicably. Well, he said he'd meet her, so he's going to meet her and make it abundantly clear it's over. But he obviously wanted to get some closure, whatever. Fair enough. I'll divorce her and move on, but I don't want to lose my in-laws, my sweet and incoherent mother-in-law, my stubborn and strong sister-in-law, and her twins, who I love. I don't want to miss their birthdays and future achievements. I want to at least be at least cordial to Jane. She's getting off easy because a lot of guys wouldn't be this nice. And a lot of guys would cut the in-laws off too because it'd just be too hard to deal with them, let alone with her. But hope it works out for him. At my job, my boss gave me 5 days off starting next week. I didn't want to stay in, so I went to the beach. It really helped me to be away from everything and rest. Going to the beach can be very therapeutic. I realized I do love my wife, but the chubby one. The one who got excited when Pizza Fridays arrived. The one who I married 11 years ago. The one who supported me in my dreams and hopes. The one who hugged me when life got rough. I don't know what happened to her. Did vanity kill her? Horniness? No idea. But I love my wife deeply, and the one who betrayed me is not my wife. So there you go, guys. As the latest in this guy's adventure here, it's definitely been quite interesting. And shitty situation. Had a panic attack, wakes up, and there she is. The last person he wants to see. Now, some people may say, SSM, you're being a little harsh on her because she is there and caring for him. But given, if you all recall, how she treated this guy and what she did and all that, not just what she did, but also how she treated him when he knew something was wrong, you can see why I'm definitely harsh on her. And at the end of the day, she wants this guy back because she thought she could have the affair going forever. And we've all heard the same BS. I'll do anything to make it better. I'll be the best wife ever. You can check my social media. All the promises is the same damn thing. This guy just wants to move on. So he's going to have that little meeting with her, and who knows what will happen there. The odds are probably she'll cry and do all that shit and try every tactic known to man to get him to change his mind. He won't, and hopefully that'll be that. I hope. But I don't think this is over. And these stories never stop because this drama is, well, the gift that keeps on giving. So, all right, guys, that is it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. Also, guys, you come across a good story you'd like to share, by all means, email it to me, strongsuccessfulmale@gmail.com. Just give me some time to get to it, and I will later on down the road, if it's a good story worth sharing on the channel. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.